Hello everybody, welcome back again. I have been playing with some watercolor paper and watercolor inks and making some flowers. I want to show you what I'm doing, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to give you some ideas of how to do it. These are different weights of watercolor. One is a like a children's watercolor Crayola pad. I mean, it was just a little cheap thing that I picked up somewhere. Regular watercolor paper like the Kansans is a little bit too heavy for this, so this needs to be a little bit thinner. These I put stickles inside, and then I sprinkled the bronze colored seed beads in there, and you can see I've got some stickles down in the middle of some of these. Now what I was doing, and I decided to turn the camera on so you can see, I made the colors, the purples and all that good stuff, and I made these leaves. I was experimenting, but I decided that the outside of the leaves needs a little bit of darkening. So I've just got some distress ink here. This is peeled paint. I should have done that before I put that together. So that'll help that look just a little bit better. And I think this one also needs some darker edges. There's so many different things you can do, and I know I've done some tutorials on things like this before, but this one's going to have just a little bit different twist to it. So I'm going to put all of those aside. I'm going to show you one. This is, now these are die cut. If you have a die cut machine, if you don't, you can cut your petals. I've got other tutorials showing you how to cut petals if you don't own a die cut machine, or you can punch them. You can get punches. So this is watercolor paper, and like I said, it's pretty thin. It's like a cardstock basically, and I put some purple inks on here, watercolor inks. I sprayed it with some glimmer mist and added some green ink. So this is some of the watercolor inks that I'm using. I've just picked up a set of these at a thrift shop, and there must be 24 in there, I guess. So I got a really good deal on that. They are highly concentrated pigment inks, but this one was called Permanent Violet, and then I added some olive green to that. Okay, I also have these watercolor inks. These are super pigmented. They almost are so strong I have to water them down to use them. I hadn't had a whole lot of success with these yet. And then I also spray my flowers with glimmer mist. Now I've got quite a few different glimmer mist colors, but for this one I use this. So I don't know if you can see, I don't know if the camera will pick up that mica powder that's in that glimmer mist, but it's a lot of fun. So I cut these out, then I sprayed them with my water. Excuse my well-loved mat. This is a foamy mat. These things, you know, they're so good to work on. I sprayed them with water. I've just got a bottle of water here to get them good and wet. And then I touched the edges with the dropper of the watercolor thing and just let the colors run. If they didn't run good enough, I sprayed them again. Then when I was kind of happy with them, I sprayed them with isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol. It's hard to say. I sprayed them with alcohol, and that kind of dispersed the inks a little bit. So you can also use alcohol inks. I mean, just have fun, play with it, and see what you can do. Now I've got these tools. These are the two that I'm using for right now. So what I like to do, this is going to create this shape of flower. So these are two sizes. There's larges, and then there's what I would call a medium. All right, so I'm going to take about that size right there, whatever size that is, and I'm going to turn over onto the back two of the larges, and then I just kind of start working it. I'm cupping the edges of the paper and I'm pulling it in. And some of these petals have a very tiny little stem, so I have to be careful not to rip it. I have ripped them before. Do a little circle in the middle and then flip it over, open it up a little, and just kind of do a little circle in the middle here too. All right, so there's one ready to go. All right, so let's do this one. That's a big petal there, so I can be kind of rough with it. But those little bitty ones, I have to be pretty careful. Try not to rip it off, and make sure your paper is good and dry before you start doing this, or you will rip it. I have done that so many times. All right, now here's a smaller one, and I'm going to use the same ball stylus on these larger petals. Then I'm going to switch to this smaller one right here to get a little more movement out of these little bitty ones, hopefully without tearing them up. Sometimes I can't get it to slide. If I can't, then I just start at the end and just kind of walk it back. And that's okay too, as long as you don't tear it. All right, and then I'm going to kind of just do that one. Come on and cooperate with me. There we go. Do that one right there. Okay, so let's put this together. This is my well-loved glue bottle with art glitter glue in it. All right, so I'm just going to put some glue down in the center. Now I'm going to stack this flower up. I'm going to stagger it a little and make sure I don't get the exact same petals on top of the other exact same petals, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to give those yellow ones, I only did them in 2 layers. I'm going to do this one in 3 layers. All right. And I like to just kind of take my little stylus tool, push that down. Now see how easy that was? Fluff them up, let it dry. I took, some of my die cuts have a hole in the middle of the flower, such as these right here. They had a hole in the middle, but this one does not. So I will punch a hole in the middle of that with an awl like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to take a little bit of stickles and decorate the inside of this one. Okay, so this is just a gold, I don't know what color gold. There's quite a few different golds. I'll show you how I do my seed beads. So I put my stickles in the center here, just kind of make a little mountain of glitter with the stickles, and I just kind of smeared it around just a little bit. You can use glue for this. You don't have to do anything fancy. And then I've got these gold seed beads that I think are so beautiful. And what I do is I just sprinkle a few on there, and then I just take my little pokey tool awl and I kind of stick them down in there. Try to make sure everybody's in the glue, but I don't want it flat. I want it like a mound, like a little mountain. And then I flip it over to see if anything falls off. If it does, then I take it off. All right, so there is how to put the flower together. So now let's have some fun with the actual watercolor itself. All right, so I'm going to get that out of the way. And here's some more die cut flowers that I have. All right, so let me move all of you because I don't want to mess you up. You are finished. All right, so here's just some, again, that thin children's Crayola watercolor, and some of it was acrylic. It was called acrylic paper, just in a little thin pad. Just anything will work. Anything will work. All right, now I'm working on some waxed paper here just to try to protect my surface underneath. So let's just have some fun, want to? So the first thing, we're going to spray it with water. We're going to decide what color we want to make these flowers. And like I told you, this right here is super strong, pigmented, but I think I'm going to use some of it. All right, so I'm just going to move stickles. I'm going to wet this down a little bit. I'm not doing all of them right now, just half. I'm going to show you how this watercolor reacts. I mean, it is definitely like an ink. Well, it is an ink. It's a watercolor ink, but it is super strong. Okay, so I'm just playing with it, just dotting some here and there. All right. Now, spray again, just water, spray, watch it. See it take off? Get it even wetter, even wetter, even wetter. Okay, and then let's add another color. I've got this color here called Indian Yellow. I thought that would be pretty. Ah, look at there, look at there. This is fun to do, you know, because I mean, you can't hardly mess up. Just have fun. Let your imagination run wild. All right, so there's a little bit of that. Now I'm going to show you what happens. Alcohol ink. I mean, not alcohol ink. Alcohol. Just isopropyl and just spread it around. This also helps it to dry, but I'm just kind of spreading it out there. All right, now, I don't particularly like that spot. Look at that sitting on top of that alcohol. All right, now I'm going to take some more water. See, this is why you want to use watercolor or mixed media paper or something, because you're going to be adding a lot of water to it. That's a little concentrated piece of pigment right there that I didn't necessarily want. Now, I would like for these to be a little more pastel, so I'm going to blot them a little bit if it'll let me. And yes, you're going to get it all over your hands, so if you want to wear gloves, you certainly can. It's one of the reasons my fingernails are always stained. Okay. Ooh, I'm liking that. Okay. Now let's spray it with Golden Rose. This is another glimmer mist. It's got the mica powders in the bottom. Let's spray it and see what it does. Now this is going to give it some shimmer. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I hope you can. And this is one of my favorite. This is called Golden Bronze. So I'm going to shake it up. It really makes pretty colors. There we go. All right, now let's do this. These guys need to dry, so I'm happy with them. I can't ink the edges or anything else until they dry. So I'm going to leave them there and let them dry. Now, let's play with, how about a blue? Let's do a blue this time. All right. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. On these, I'm going to use just glimmer mist. I'm not going to wet them. Well, we may wet them later, but let's look at it first. So this glimmer mist is a darker blue. It's called Tower Blue, and I don't want it real dark, so I'm just going to put there to block that. So I'm going to kind of spray up from a little distance. If not, they're going to go way too dark. All right, so there's a little bit of that blue. We might add a little bit of this Royal Crown purple. And see that mica in the bottom? See, that one needs to be. Some of these, I've had these for a little while, and they start to kind of pile up at the bottom, and sometimes they don't want to shake loose. But now I'm going to try adding a little purple. Okay, these two guys are overlapping, so move away. Move away. There we go. Whoa, look at that. Ooh, nice. And for some reason, I like purple and green together. That's kind of how I did these. I thought they were so pretty. So this is called Lime, and this is just a dilution spray. So this one does not have any mica. So I'm just going to bump it. I'm going to try to. Oh, come on, you. Okay, so this one is stopped up. All right, we'll use this one. How about Distress Spray Old Paper? That sounds interesting. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we're just going to give it a little something something in there. And then we need to add just a little more shimmer. For that, I'm going to use this white Dazzling Diamonds, it says, because this will lighten it up just a little bit, because to me it's looking a little dark. I don't want it too dark. All right, so I'm going to spray that pretty heavy, and that'll kind of let those colors run together too. And then we're just going to let that dry. I'm going to spritz it with some alcohol just to see what it does, just for fun. Why not? Cute, cute, cute. All right, so we'll let that dry. We'll let all of these dry. And I'm going to show you some other ones that I have made that I haven't put together yet. See, here's another good reason for the wax paper. You can just pick it up and move it. I want to show you this too. Look at this, is the paper from the ones I did yesterday. This is the wax paper, and normally I would just throw that away, but I thought that turned out so interesting. Why not iron that out and let it become some pages in a junk journal? And I'm going to show you some leaves that I've got too. Sorry, I just didn't have room to get all this over here at one time. Now this one I sprayed on just this paper towel thing, and that worked good. It helped it to dry a little faster. So these are kind of they turned out kind of hot pink. A little bit pinker than I really wanted them to be, but I think these will make the cutest flowers. So we might make one of those together so you can see what they're going to look like. And then I've got these wonky looking ones. That was another die that I had. And then this was like a poinsettia die, but I used that for my leaves. So all that's done with these inks and these sprays. Lots of fun. All right, so let's consolidate that. And let's move that so you can hopefully see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring the mat back out. It's full of paint and hot glue. I need to get me a new one of these, but I don't think about it. This one still works, so. All right, let's make one of these daisy looking guys, because I thought that would be so interesting to make. And I'll tell you something else. When you get finished with it, if you don't like the final look, you can spray it again. That one's not that one's kind of messed up. That one's way too dark. All right, so I'm going to turn the good side down, and I'm going to take, let's see, I think I'm going to have to go with a smaller stylus. I'm probably going to use that one and that one, because I really want to curl these in. Let me start with a small one and see how it does. So I'm just starting at the outside and I'm curling that in. Yeah, I like the small one. It almost makes like a little stem looking like a vein. Oh, how cool is that? Look. How cool is that? You could put that as a bud. Put a little pearl in the middle and just let it be a bud if you wanted to. All right. So, but for right now, I'm going to open it back up a little bit. I'm going to take the bigger side and I'm going to run that circle around the middle. Look at there. That's what I wanted. Okay, let's try this one. So I'm just starting at the outside, kind of pushing a little and running that down. Running it down to the center. I'm not doing this one quite as hard, which is fine. All right, now let's open that. It's a lot of petals there.
I don't know that.
Oh, Alexa's talking to me again. Cancel, Alexa.
I don't have.
All right, let's stack these two together. Every now and then she does that. That's twice she's done that while I was filming. She thinks I'm talking to her. I'm not talking to you. Hush. All right, so I'm going to stack these two petals staggered. I staggered them. You don't want one right on top of the other. All right, and I think, see, I see a little space here. So I think I'm going to go one more petal I wished I had different sizes of this, but this is the only size of this die cut that I happen to have. All right, so let's open up that last one. And let's stack it on top and make sure I kind of cover those little gaps right there. So I would call this a Gerber daisy. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. I want you to go in there like that. Okay, so here's this cute little flower. Now all I have to do is either add a stamen or add some beads. I'm kind of partial to the seed bead thing. I do like the way that looks because to me it looks so natural. See this one that we just made? I just kind of like that seed bead look in there. So let's do that. Let's add some stickles and let's choose a seed bead. I really wanted something pretty yellow, maybe that one. All right, so I'm just going to sprinkle these guys in there. We'll take something, a pokey tool, this, it doesn't matter, just something that I can get down in there. Flip it, and they all stuck. So ta-da! See, that one's finished. Okay, so it's very simple, and like I said, you can do it with watercolors, you can do it with spray inks. There really is nothing. Try anything, try everything. Try alcohol inks too. I haven't tried that yet with watercolor paper, but I think it might be a lot of fun, so we may do that next. And then if you think about it, when you're at this stage and they're dry, go ahead and ink the edges a darker color. Like pink can be a darker pink, or you could use some browns or whatever, you know, use anything. I think I'm going to go and bump some of the edges of these with the darker stays on right here and just see what I can do with that. But it would be easier to do before you put them together like that. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have fun. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.